Are you a parent that has an athlete that probably doesn't play with as much confidence as you would like to see as a parent? How you doing? My name's Chad Hermansen. I'm a former Major League Baseball player, former Major League scout for the Angels, and current mental skills and performance coach. So I was a first round pick back in 1995. I was drafted by the Pirates, had huge high expectations going through the draft, as well as when I got drafted. As you can imagine, being drafted at such a high position, a lot of things are expected upon you. And upon my journey, as I went through the minor leagues, got up to the big leagues, I had a lot of struggles. I had struggles with my throwing. I had struggles with confidence, with striking out, and I just had struggles with the way that I thought about the game and how I actually performed. As you can imagine, being a first round pick, I didn't have a whole ton of failure coming up through the ranks as a high school player, had a lot of success. I did really well in the minors, but there were some things about my game that maybe weren't quite on par with what I wanted to be, and that was my mental game. If you've ever played baseball before, you understand how important the mental game is. I was an athlete. I played football and basketball as a youngster, and those are some different games. So they're a little more high paced. The action just keeps going. In baseball, it's a slower paced game. You have more time to think about things, and you can get yourself in a rut, right? When you are not quite playing up to your speed and the confidence, if you're not getting those hits, that can just eat at you and eat at you. It's a very hard game. People have said that hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing to do in sports. And I can certainly attest to that at the big league level. I played really well all the way up to the big leagues, had some success in the big leagues, but really struggled from an offensive standpoint and just my mindset and the way that I thought as well. So, what am I doing now? Well, I spent the last 7 years as a scout for the Angels. I live in Las Vegas. I scout Las Vegas. I scouted Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. So that was the area I scouted amateur players in the high school, in the college arena. And so, of course, we spend 10 months out of the year basically preparing for the draft in June. And it's interesting how I would go into houses, I would talk to athletes, I would interview them, both on the high school and college level. And every single one of them talks about, man, I wish I had something to build myself up from a self image standpoint, from a confidence level. And what is that? That's the mental game. That is having a belief in yourself that you can go out and do the job. And a lot of us have some anxieties, right? Some fears, some worries, some doubts about our performance. And I would say both on and off the field. And that certainly can affect you in life. So, what I've noticed, and as I've worked with athletes the last few years while being a scout, kind of individually and one on one, that it's interesting when an athlete starts to open up, and they start to talk to you and they start to kind of give you what they're going through. And a lot of it times is, as a parent, is the expectations of the parents, wanting to please the parent. They're spending a lot of money. You're probably spending a lot of money on club ball, traveling maybe all over the world, going to perfect game events, all these things. So there's an expectation that comes with that, right? And trying to perform and be at their best. And so it's some pressure for them. And then sometimes as a youngster, that's hard to handle. So I know at the professional level that all the major league teams, all the minor league teams, in regards to the organizations, now have mental skills, mental performance coaches, right? We've all heard of sports psychologists. They've been around for a long time. Harvey Dorfman was one of the champions way back in the 80s. And that's kind of where it started in regards to sports psychology. And then we went to Ken Ravizza, wrote Heads Up Baseball. So we had the Mental Game in Baseball, Heads Up Baseball, which are great books. And I certainly recommend them. And what I've noticed is when kids start to open up and they start to talk, they start to let their guard down and they start to get their confidence. So I have a son. I have four kids, three daughters and a son. My son is the only, male playing baseball, of course, and he's gone through this as well. He's gone through some confidence struggles, really trying to be consistent as a player, and just really trying to go out there and be the best he can possibly be. But there are certainly some obstacles that he's going through personally that can affect him, and it certainly affects his performance because he's maybe in a different boat than maybe you, if you didn't play in the big leagues. So dad played in the big leagues. I played 13 years, 3 years in the big leagues. And he's, he actually goes to the same school that I go to as well. So it's kind of extra pressure on him, where dad was a first rounder, played in the big leagues. So there's high expectations, right? And so that kind of conveys in the way he goes about his daily thing, because he's Chad's son. And his name happens to be Chad, but his goes by Callan. So it's kind of interesting how this all plays out. But what I'm doing now, so I've been let go by the Angels. COVID hit us and it wiped us out from an organizational standpoint. I got let go. So I am now a full-time mental skills performance coach. So I am talking to kids at night, after school, during the weekends, whatever works in regards to working with kids one-on-one and in group settings. So what I would like to offer to you is to work with your son or to work with your daughter. It doesn't matter what sport. Everything that I teach can be applied in any single sport. What I do is I help them build their self-image, build their confidence in themselves. And I use Google Docs to go through and we discuss, we have some topics to go on and work through. So I want to offer that to you. And obviously you're watching this ad and you don't maybe quite know me yet. Since June hit with COVID, I started my podcast as well as YouTube channel. It's called Mental Edge Training Coach. This is a channel where I interview former teammates of mine, coaches, players, scouts, to just start talking and opening up about the mental game and how important it is, and to actually, just how important it is to actually start to work with somebody. Because if all the major league teams are doing it, if all the minor league teams are doing it, and these are professionals at the highest level, they're still talking and working with coaches. If your son or daughter is an amateur, how important it is for them. So I feel like that is where my focus is. It's on the amateur player of starting, from really 12 on up, to start working on the mental game and start to help give them the confidence and to build their self-image as they go through high school. Because I know as a parent, as a father, when I see my son or even my daughter that maybe plays soccer and they don't have that confidence, right? That hurts as a dad. That hurts. It's like, God, you see their head down, they got bad body language, they're upset. They get to where I don't want to play this game anymore. I have certainly gone through that with my players, and my son as well, who goes through some struggles with that, with the expectations. So what I want to offer to you is a free 20 to 30 minute consultation. We get on the phone, we do a Zoom call, and I'm with you, I'm with your athlete, and we discuss, what it is that your athlete wants to work on, what do they want to improve on, and then we just see if it's a good fit. If it's a good fit for me to work with them one-on-one or in group settings. Kind of everyone's a little bit different with how they want to be taught. Certainly one-on-ones are the best. It's very personal, but I also do some group settings and group calls where we have more kids on the screen. It's open and they're a little bit open to asking questions at times. And sometimes they just want to listen and learn. So it just kind of varies with what you want to do. I am also building an online membership that would be really considered a online video vault, to where they go in, they just watch videos of me coaching. I've done some really nice 4K high def videos with, green screen in the background. It's pretty cool looking, but I pick a topic, I teach it, I ask some questions at the end of the video, and they kind of just start working on their mental game on their own and on their own time. And obviously I can only work with so many one-on-ones at a time. So this helps to kind of guard against and just being able to be all over the place at one time. So if you're interested in me talking with you one-on-one, we can certainly set up a Zoom call with you and your athlete. You can email me at chad@mentaledge.coach. If you email me there, we'll set up a time, 20 to 30 minutes, talk about what you want to go through. And I just want to make sure that, a lot of times parents and even athletes think, oh, well, if I need to talk to a mental skills coach, is there something wrong with me, right? Because they hear the word mental in there. And of course, there's nothing wrong with you, right? There's nothing wrong with talking to a coach about working on, this is about building their performance. And if they have some performance anxieties, right, some fears, some doubts, some worries, we start working on that and attacking that and learning how anxiety works. because it's really all about how you think and feel about things. That's going to determine your actions. And sometimes when it starts with how we think can bury us a lot of times. So I want to dive into how they think and really help them in that area. So again, if you want to schedule a free consultation with me, email me at chad@mentaledge.coach. I appreciate taking the time to listen. If you do want to get to know me more about how I go about things, check out my YouTube channel. It's Mental Edge Training Coach. And it's also under the same name under iTunes and Spotify. Again, Mental Edge Training Coach. I could certainly recommend that if you found me online here, you don't know who I am, you start to get an idea of who I work with, and obviously credibility and trust is a huge part of this. Because obviously, if you work with me, it's an investment, and I want to make sure you're completely comfortable with working with me, having that trust that I'm going to help your student and help your athlete in their mental game. So again, thanks for reaching out and thanks for watching this video. And I hope to hear from you. Again, it's Chad at mentaledge.coach if you want to schedule a free consultation. Thanks. We'll see you.